Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday and a brand new week and a brand new month. I'm Kelsey Marier, your host and producer for Morning Pulse, where I bring you your top local headlines for Southeast Minnesota and Northern Iowa in a digital way. So we have 5 stories to bring you today on this Monday, November 3rd. Kind of a busy and packed Morning Pulse little broadcast for you today. We try to keep this quick, but also casual, and making sure we're bringing you the information you need to know to get your day started and kind of know what's going on in your community or the communities around you. So again, 5 stories to bring you today. I'm going to start with our first story, which is out of Albert Lea. So right now we are learning about a house fire that's under investigation. The cause still unknown. This took place in Albert Lea over the weekend around 3:40 on Saturday morning. The home that went up in flames was on West Clark Street. So according to Albert Lea Fire Rescue, first responders arrived to that home and found flames coming out of all of kind of the front openings. We're told the people living inside that home were found outside, which is a good thing. No reports of any injuries that we know of. Those people, though, have now been moved to a hotel thanks to help from the Salvation Army. The blaze does leave an estimated $50,000 in damage, and this is again under investigation. The cause is yet to be determined. This again taking place in Albert Lea over the weekend. Next, we want to tell you about something that's happening today in southern Minnesota. We have learned that Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, pictured here on your screen, as well as Jake Johnson, the DFL candidate for the state's 1st congressional district, which covers parts of southern Minnesota, will be in Rochester today. They do plan to highlight how the government shutdown is kind of impacting Minnesotans' ability to feed their families. This comes, of course, days after a lapse in food stamp funding that kind of ran out or wasn't going to be replenished on November 1st, which was Saturday, and that affects 440,000 state residents who rely on SNAP benefits to keep food on their tables. Again, that's in Minnesota. So Flanagan and Johnson are going to be in Rochester today to talk about that government shutdown impact, as well as Flanagan and some of her campaign volunteers are going to be working a shift over at Channel 1 Regional Food Bank this afternoon too, and that is in Rochester. So we just want to put that on your radar, make sure you knew what was going on there, but that is something that is happening today in the Med City. Our third story this morning, still kind of talking about government shutdown impacts. We now know that it's impacting help for thousands of Minnesotans who also rely on energy assistance, and that is particularly important, especially as winter is now approaching. So the Minnesota Energy Assistance Program says it is still accepting and processing applications. However, payments to help cover heating bills may be delayed until at least a month after the government shutdown ends. So that's something we just wanted to make sure that you were aware about. That delay is because of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services typically taking about a month to release funding once a federal budget is kind of finalized. So for example here, just in case this doesn't fully make sense to you, if the shutdown lasts until December 1st, Minnesota may not get its energy assistance funding until January. Again, this is kind of affecting low-income families that may need help with heating their homes in the wintertime. In the meantime, though, officials are urging residents here in the state to contact their fuel or utility companies to kind of set up a payment plan under the state's cold weather rule. Once the funding does arrive, though, approved applicants will receive a letter kind of detailing their energy bill assistance. So just something to keep in mind if this is a story that affects you or someone you know. Next up, we're taking you into Iowa, where something is happening today. A car ferry at the Mississippi River crossing in Lansing, Iowa, is beginning today. That ferry is going to give people in Iowa and Wisconsin kind of an alternative route after the closure of this bridge in the video on your screen. That's the Black Hawk Bridge. That happened last month in October. Officials say that this ferry is free and it can take up to 12 vehicles at a time. Those vehicles include cars, motorcycles, even bicycles, as well as a 2-axle truck under 10 tons. It will be operating 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, again, to accommodate the closure of this bridge and people needing to get from northern Iowa into western Wisconsin. So the ferries are going to be starting at 5:45 in the morning on the Iowa side. The last ferry will be leaving at 9:15 p.m. So basically, again, all day those 16 hours, 7 days a week. And getting across the river, some transportation officials say, is expected to take just about 15 minutes each way. So just keep that in mind. If this is a route that you normally take and need an alternative route, well, now you have one via ferry for the time being, while a new bridge is being constructed there. And finally this morning, a story that's kind of a good news story, kind of making a difference. FedEx employees in Rochester are challenging the community to kind of see how much they can do to, how much you can raise rather for a good cause. So FedEx employees are starting up a Purple Tote Challenge, and this is to help support people experiencing homelessness in Rochester through The Landing, Minnesota, which is a nonprofit here in Rochester. So now through November 21st, FedEx employees will be filling purple totes with essential food and hygiene items that will then be donated to The Landing. So FedEx is asking us for help. Community members are encouraged to kind of take part, and you can drop off any of those donated items at the FedEx building in the southwest part of town. Now through, again, November 21st. Requested items that you could donate include beef jerky, granola bars, and any waterproof winter gloves and other kind of winter wear items. Again, this is all benefiting The Landing, which helps people who are experiencing homelessness. So kind of a fun little partnership for a good cause with FedEx and us here in the community in Rochester. So just wanted to make sure you knew about that. If you want to learn more about how to get involved or just a little bit more information about this particular story, you can go over to our website, kttc.com. To learn more. We have all the details there for you. All right, those are our 5 news headlines today. Again, we like to keep this short for you to make sure that you're getting your news and getting in and out and back on track with the rest of your day. But I do just want to touch quickly on the weather. Meteorologist Ted Schmidt did say today, as our first Monday in the start of November, we are going to be having a pretty nice day. It's a little chilly outside, but that's normal for this time of year, seasonal. But we are going to see the sun later today, so that's a great way to start our week. So you may need to pack your sunglasses for your Monday, but no need for any rain gear or anything like that. But definitely, obviously, keep your layers handy. We need a jacket. You may need a sweatshirt and things like that to kind of get out the door this morning and maybe on your way back too. Also, just keep in mind, because of the time change with daylight saving, we get to see the sun earlier in the mornings now, or it's going to continue to be that way. However, that also means the sun is going to be setting earlier in the evening. So keep that in mind too when you're doing your evening commutes. It may be darker when you're going home from work or home from school or anything like that, and keep your eye on the road just a little bit more for any animals that are crossing, as well as kids coming to and from school. When it's maybe a little bit darker outside than normal. So just take it slow, and just some things to remember there. But it should be a pretty good day in the weather department here for our area. All right, that's all that I have for you today on this Monday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow for Tuesday's edition of Morning Pulse.